Pandaria Remixed tier ensembles aren't class specific. WoW is being changed. Blizzard's changing WoW when it comes to how Transmog is going to work. And this is interesting, and I'm not really sure how to feel about it, to be completely honest. So people are now doing Pandaria Remix raids, right? And they're getting gear from those raids. And everybody is noticing that the tier gear that's dropping, tier 14, 15, and 16, are not class specific. Now, they are kind of locked to certain classes, but let's take a look at some of these. So for the Rogue tier set, we're talking about Rogue gear being able to be used by Demon Hunters, Druids, and Monks as well. So you could have a Monk that looks like a Rogue. It's an interesting thought. Warlocks being able to be used by Mages, Priests, and Warlocks, of course. For Monks, we got Demon Hunters, Druids, and Rogues as well. Of course, so you're switching between those three. Paladin gear will be able to be worn by Death Knights. God, that almost feels blasphemous. Imagine a Death Knight running around in what looks like light-infused gear. But anyways, Death Knights, Paladins, and Warriors will have interchangeable gear as well. Now remember, Death Knights, their tier sets very much look necromantic and stuff. So imagine that being worn by a Paladin. As far as Warriors go, they seem more interchangeable. They can wear them. But how do you guys feel about this? I'm not sure. For me, part of class fantasy and everything that comes with it is the look, right? It's the aesthetic. It's like when you see somebody in a city, when you're walking around, when you yourself are doing your things, you kind of represent your class by the gear you're wearing. And this kind of changes that. It does. Seeing, for me, visually, I can identify most classes. I've been playing this game since 2005, so when I see a class, it's almost impossible for me not to know who they are, what they do. Yeah, gross. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Is it going to create some really cool-looking transmog? Yeah, it will. And if you're going to sit here and say, well, Sam, this is part of the WoW Remix event, it doesn't matter. It does, because these transmog ensembles, any transmog that you get from the WoW Mists of Pandaria Remix event is transferring over to your retail account. So you will be able to, in retail, transmog into another class's set. It's kind of weird. I don't want to look like a DK. They are trash. Yeah, some people hate greatness. That's what it is. That's what it is. But all in all, it's there. It's going to be available. If you want to get this stuff, you're going to have to get in and do the Mists of Pandaria raids. The good thing is, the raiding system in the Pandaria Remix event is so broken that honestly, you can solo some of it. So get in there and get those things done. I've been seeing these bosses absolutely get deleted. So if you want some of these sets, you can surely get a lot of it yourself. Moving on, upcoming class tuning for Dragonflight Season 4 healer nerfs. Now, I feel like WoW has a healing problem lately, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know if you guys remember this, but a while back, Blizzard made some changes to the game. Now, by a while back, I mean it was during Dragonflight. They said they wanted to make the game a little bit more challenging. And part of that was they made changes to healing. And I noticed this as a blood DK, of course, that they wanted your health to bounce back and forth a lot more. They wanted to see a lot of variation in a person's health during a fight. Whereas we had reached a point a lot of times where everyone got so geared that your health really sat near the top. You'd bounce maybe to 80 and come back. And lately, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but forming up a group, trying to get healers into raid, it's very difficult. Nobody wants to heal. And part of that is because healing has become extremely challenging. It really has. It takes a lot of skill, and it's like, I don't know, what do they say? Like an unthanked, basically, role. It's essentially the only time a healer hears anything from a group or a raid is when they're doing shitty, and people are cussing them out. So why do people want to heal in WoW? Well, it doesn't look like people do, and now Blizzard's coming down with these nerfs. Look at this. Mistweaver. All healing reduced by 13%. We got Resto Druid. All healing reduced by 5. Shaman. All healing reduced by 5. Priest. Atonement Transfer. 35% damage to healing was 40. We see all these increased to 70 was 50. We see Atonement Healing increased by 35 was 15. Okay, so we got a little bit of buff there maybe for Discipline. And then Mistweaver Monk, what is this? Ancient Teachings Healing Transfer amount reduced to 375% was 412. So Blizzard's doubling down on this. Blizzard's doubling down. The irony of Sam talking about healing being hard. Look, if any tank has an understanding of how hard healing can be, it's going to be a blood DK. A lot of times we're trying to be as self-sufficient as possible, and I myself have certainly noticed there were glory days where literally my health would be popping between like 95, 100, 95. It never dropped. Now, since Blizzard made these changes, and now add this on top of it, I mean, my health drops like it's erratic as shit on certain pulls, especially in higher keys. And I don't really know what Blizzard's doing here. Like I said, they seem to be doubling down on the healing reductions. They want to make healing harder. They want to make content harder. And I understand we want to have a challenge in the game, right? It's a little bit boring if you're just big dick in everything. But I'm not sure if attacking healing is the way to do it. Because healers are lacking. I feel like the healing population is the lowest it's ever been. It's always that final roll you're trying to get. And I know maybe some people out there will say tanks are hard to get, and I can't really resonate with that because I am a tank, so obviously there's always a tank in the group when I'm there. But even people who are out there, when I'm in a group, a lot of people I hear, they say, oh, we can't find healers. There's no healers in the game. So healing does suck when people don't dispel or heal. There you go. There's another thing, right? On top of the fact that you got healing issues, right? Healing has been reduced greatly and drastically increased in difficulty. You got mechanics, you got different Mythic Plus mechanics and things, even a lot of raid mechanics that require dispelling. On top of that, you're wrecking healers, man. I don't know what it is. They're doubling down on making healing difficult. I think they kind of need to go in the other direction. You need to incentivize more people to play healer, and making things extra difficult, making the barrier to entry kind of harder when it comes to skill, I really don't think is the way to do it. But that seems to be what they're doing. I don't know what the research is telling them, why they're going in this direction, but it looks like, boys, healing's only going to get harder in Season 4. So if you're a healer out there, please keep healing. Please keep doing what you're doing. Sam claiming to be a tank, yeah. Check the VODs. I do what I do. Anyways, Nat Pagle. The World Quest available until Friday. Yes, if you're doing the Good Boy Leash event, you want to get those achievements and get your big boy Good Boy. By the way, he's been increased in size again, which is fantastic. One of the World Quests you need to complete isn't always around, but for the first time in weeks, it will be available for a few days. So get in there and get it done. Mr. Nat Pagle, the World Quest, you got to get this one. It is in the Onaharan Plains. Make sure you do it, because if you want to get this mount, your time is slowly running out here. In terms of time running out, things like alpha coming around and everything, there really seems to be no news besides stuff like this. A couple big streamers claiming they're not going to be playing the game again until Wednesday. Now, we talked about the alpha has to hit this week. If it's going to hit before Season 4, it has to be this week. Based on the roadmap, it is supposed to hit before Season 4 starts. And the only clues we have right now are the fact that some of these streamers are tweeting out, and we all know Tally is in the know, that they're not going to be streaming again until Wednesday. So I don't know what that means. Take what you want from it, but that's literally the only news we have in terms of alpha coming out. I was scouring the web. There is absolutely no news so far as I speak here on Tuesday morning on Wednesday morning about how this is what's going to happen. But assuming these guys are going live today for a reason, today could be the day where we finally get alpha news. One more thing about alpha. Mr. GM tweeted this out yesterday. I thought it was interesting. I actually didn't know this, but he says that prior history shows that if you sign up for beta, the opt-in will normally give you a chance to get alpha as well. He said, historically speaking, at least. So if you haven't done so already, even if you're not interested in beta and you want alpha access, or you already pre-ordered the expansion, it might be a good idea to opt in. I'm going to link this in chat again if you haven't already. All you got to do is click the beta opt-in. I already did it, so the check mark is there for me. But if you haven't already and you want alpha access, you might want to opt into beta. Like I said, even if you pre-ordered the epic or the legendary edition, I forget which edition it's called, but the super expensive version of the War Within, you will automatically get beta. That's part of your purchase. But you might still behoove you to beta opt-in just to see if you can also get alpha access. So there's the link in chat if you guys want to get there and see if you can get yourself a little bit of alpha.